us and sharing your expertise as a political analyst all the way from Taiwan. Now we move on to our next news. According to reports, Russian President Vladimir Putin will meet Malaysian King Sultan Ibrahim in Moscow on August 6th. The two leaders will discuss further developing Russian-Malaysian relations and current international and regional issues. The Malaysian king will be visiting Russia from August 5th to 10th. This comes after a meeting on 14th May with Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, where Putin extended an invitation to the king to visit Russia. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov noted that the Kremlin attaches great importance to its relations with Malaysia and that much is being prepared for the upcoming talks between Putin and the Malaysian head of state. Now for this discussion, we are joined by Andrew Latham. He's a professor of international relations, joins us live from Minnesota. Thank you, Andrew, for joining us today. Good to see you. Now, President Putin's upcoming meeting with the Malaysian king highlights this growing ties between these two countries, otherwise kind of far away from each other. What are the strategic significance do you think this visit holds for both countries?
Well, for Russia, it's clear that against the backdrop of the war in Ukraine and the international sanctions that are mostly emanating from the West, the global North, Russia continues to look for friends and partners, especially in the global South, and is having some success there with respect to Malaysia. There's no geoeconomic incentives or imperatives at play here. It's simply Russia trying to bring other states on board. But also to pursue its goal of leading the global South. And in that respect, it's up against China and India in various ways. On the Malaysian side, it's really a little bit surprising given that Russian-backed forces shot down a Malaysian airliner 10 years ago or so. But Malaysia's playing the game of multi-alignment as well. Sometimes it cozies up to the United States and the Western world, but other times it's more than happy to cozy up to China and especially Russia, which presents no immediate threat to it, being outside in many respects the Indo-Pacific region. So it's a win-win. And when we look at what the Malaysian Prime Minister during his visit and now the upcoming visit of the Sultan, it's diplomatic theater to a large extent. There's no big deals being negotiated. It is, from Moscow's side, look at us, we have friends in the global South. From Malaysia's side, it is, we have a great power that we can turn to on occasion when we need support. And as I said, win-win.
Yes, and Andrew, now building on your answer, in what ways do you foresee Russia and Malaysia strengthening their bilateral relations during this visit, and how might their cooperation influence broader regional dynamics in Southeast Asia?
Yes, well, it looks like the Sultan is going to be not just attending a state dinner, which is diplomatic theatrics to the nth degree, but he's also going to be visiting a number of other regions outside Moscow and a number of, it's mostly commercial, mostly factories and things like that he seems to be planning on visiting. So I think we can see some doubling down of economic relations between the two countries. I don't think those are extensive at the moment, and they're not likely to become terribly extensive, but they're going to be strengthening that. The Southeast Asia and the Indo-Pacific more broadly, of course, are an arena for great power competition at the moment. And small countries, Malaysia, Thailand, etc., are always looking for supporters in this multipolar world and this world of multi-alignment. It is not at all surprising. And of course, the global South doesn't take the Ukraine war quite as seriously as the global West does. For many in the Indo-Pacific region and the global South more broadly, this is a European thing, and why should we care about it all that much at all? So although people in Europe and North America are sometimes astounded by this, it's perfectly rational. That's a European issue, and the Europeans need to deal with it. So I think in that multipolar context, Malaysia is, like all states in Southeast Asia and the Indo-Pacific, looking for multiple partners to help it balance both its regional competitors, but also, of course, the elephant in the room is always China and its aspirations to dominate the South China Sea, perhaps to invade Taiwan. It's got fraught relations with India, territorial disputes, etc. In that context, it makes perfect sense for Malaysia to reach out to whatever great power is willing to lend at least some kind of moral support, if not military support.
Thank you very much, and Professor Andrew Latham, for joining us today and sharing your insight as a professor of international relations.